Dynamite. I want to apologize. You see this now. This is being done the next day, early in the morning. I could not watch the show. As you guys know, I have bad allergies right now, so I can watch it. I took my medicine and I fell out. So this is being done the next day. So I do apologize that this is late. So I want to make this very clear. Until my allergies get better, this might happen more than a few times, that if I can't catch it the same day, I'll have to upload it the next day. I don't like doing it, but I hate skipping a show because I want to review it. And this show was... Let me give you like this. There wasn't a lot of story here. And there's a lot of questions. But I wasn't bored. I want to make that very clear. I wasn't bored, but I wasn't happy that the stories are not very good. I wasn't happy that certain things made no sense. Let's start with the first one. Continental Classic. Shane Taylor Promotions. I believe it's Shane Taylor Promotion. A guy, Shane Taylor, who has been with the company maybe at least 5 years already. He joined right after the first year, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. He has been there around the time before ROH was taken and purchased by AEW. And we get him having a match against Jon Moxley. And he loses to Jon. And then they start fighting one another. Now they're going to be... I think they had a fight in Collision. I didn't watch Collision. But here's the thing. The thing that gets me... Why? Why? No story. And I want to make this clear. It's not because I hate Shane Taylor. I personally don't care about Shane Taylor. I personally don't like Shane Taylor. It doesn't mean I don't love Shane Taylor. I don't care about Shane Taylor because the company has made him not important. That's the thing I want to make clear to anyone who watches this, which probably won't be many. But the point here is this. Shane Taylor and the group that he has of all those people feel like nothing. If they were important, they would have been sponsored and shown on Dynamite enough that when you have them on Collision, at least they feel more important. At least you would care about them. Anybody says just watch Collision. I'm not doing it. I'm not watching Collision. Why am I going to watch Collision? Why am I going to watch a show that legitimately they barely promote on Dynamite? Because you can say a lot on SmackDown, barely being promoted on Raw, but it is promoted. They make sure they show it. It's very little promotion on Collision. And on top of it, they still, as far as I know, because no one's told me I'm wrong, they have no lead. You can say a lot about CM Punk. Yes, easily. He didn't do great. He acted like a bitch, okay? And most of what he said was right. But he acted like a bitch. But what did they do? To try and solve the problem with Kenny Omega, the Bucks, everyone else, they gave him his own show. And they allowed it to be built around him. What do you have a Collision? I ask anybody. Who is in charge of Collision? Who is important on Collision? Really important. Tell me. If it's someone important, tell me why they're important. Not just there is somebody there. Tell me why they're important. Because they only have one shot. Well, actually, they've had two shots, too. The first one was Adam Copeland. They could have done it with Adam. They refused to do it. Adam was not built around Collision. He could have been on Collision. They could have built him up on Collision. He could have been important on Collision. Nope. Who else they could have done it? The one I kept talking about and will keep talking about until it gets blue in the face. Until you can't stand it anymore. Because the person they could have built Collision around that was so popular, where he's still probably very popular, Eddie Kingston before he got hurt. They could have built Eddie Kingston as the face of Collision. The Mad King could have ran Collision. Nope. They did nothing. When he became Continental Champion, ROH Champion, New Japan Pro Strong Champion, they could have built the entire show around him before he got hurt and went away for nearly over a year almost. Or near a year, I believe. No! Nothing! And where is Eddie right now? Probably on Collision, doing nothing. They have people that are absurdly popular, and they done nothing with them. So I look at Shane Taylor, whether he's on Collision or not, whether he was, most of the time he's probably on ROH. He feels non-important. Shane Taylor's promotion with his crew means nothing if they don't make him mean something. They could have built Collision around him. They could have been showing him constantly on Dynamite, making it clear that he's making moves. Hell, at this point, you know what? Fucking put Don Callis and the Don Callis family on Collision and build it around them. Build it around either Kyle Fletcher, either Okada, either Andrade, because I will get to Andrade in a minute. Ow. Do you see what I'm suffering here? I do this for you. I do my reviews even when my allergies are driving me nuts. But you got to tell me below. Next, Pac versus Mark Briscoe. Now, this is me. Pac is my boy. They could have done something great with Pac. He could have become a champion, not a All-Atlantic champion or international champion or trios champion. He could have been given the world title. He's over enough as the bastard that he has a good look. He can wrestle. He understands psychology. He can talk. You could have built everything around him. They never do anything with him except make him look menacing until he needs to job his ass off to Mark Briscoe. And it's understandable. They're trying to build Mark up. And understand, I really like Mark. I do like Mark Briscoe. But they had their chance last year. They didn't do nothing with him. They had a chance to make him important. But they didn't do nothing with him. So now he wins his match and then he talks afterward. And he makes it very clear, calling out, well, MJF comes out right after he got called out, making it very clear that you keep wanting a shot, you're not going to get one. You have your friends in the conglomeration. I got people too. They started beating him up. They started hammering him down until the conglomeration came out, helped him out, and then here's where it gets, what are we doing? Mark made it very clear. Right now, you are going to need 5 guys. I got 5 guys with me. You get 5 guys. We're going to have a match. I win that match. My side wins that match. I get a title shot. And to make it even more interesting, it's going to be in a steel cage. And I'm like, stipulation's good. It does protect MJF a bit, along with most of the people in there. But here's the thing. Do I buy Mark Briscoe going to beat MJF? No. No. Because they've never booked Mark to be the top guy. He's ran ROH. Yeah. He's been a TNT champion until they stripped it off and gave it to Ciampa. And then Ciampa gave it right back to Kyle, where they went to Australia and it made no sense. It's bullshit. And I'm like, why? I'm glad they are using Mark. Let's not get it twisted. I am glad they're using Mark Briscoe because I do like Mark. And I've been wanting Mark to be pushed into the main title scene for more than a year now. They could have done it. That's why he was so popular. But it feels like they missed the boat on him already. And then you're literally going to you're going to let MJF job to Mark Briscoe. No, they have not built him up to be that important. He's been TNT champion, yes, but it's not enough. Now, let's do a couple of segments. Let me give it to you like this. Did I feel surprised when Darby Allin reappeared after the Jet and Don were in the ring doing their segment? Nope. I said this myself. Didn't I say it? They are going to let Darby Allin go right back into the TNT title picture. I'm telling you, that's what they're doing here. Whether he wins or loses that shot he's going to get from the Jet, because they're not going to do it yet. They're going to do what they can to build up Darby, and then they'll have the title match. And I'm going to say this. Whether he wins or loses, it's still a downgrade. Everyone has stated, why did they hold off on Darby Allin? Guess what? Darby got hit by a bus in New York. That could be understandable why they had to postpone it. But then Darby, after he recovered from that, wanted to go and do Mount Everest when he shouldn't have. And this is not against Darby. I actually like Darby. I do. And now that Mick Foley's working in the company where Darby legitimately is the true embodiment of Mick Foley. He's not the embodiment of Sting. He is the embodiment, the modern day version of Mick Foley. That is what he is. There's no shame in it. It's who he is. But I'm telling you now, Darby Allin is supposed to be in the main title picture. It doesn't make a difference. If you got a lot of people there, he's supposed to be there. And now you went from him being here, let him do constant open challenge matches, which he shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have done open challenge matches. He shouldn't have done so many. Not because it could have hurt him. It's because he was not booked correctly. And now, you now went from here to here. He is now in the TNT title picture. Whether he wins or loses, whenever they do this match, because it's obvious they're going to go there eventually, it is, what are we doing? You make him sound so important, but when you really are supposed to make him feel important, you give him the main title, but you don't give him relevancy. You make him constantly do match after match after match. And it doesn't mean he's over. Yeah, people love him, but that doesn't mean he's relevant. And now you went from here, where he's supposed to be, chunk, right there. And now we're going to move on to relevancy of two guys, Tommaso Ciampa and Chris Jericho. Here's the thing that pissed me off. Do I hate Chris Jericho working with Tommaso Ciampa? No. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing a former ROH guy where he could be touting that I'm one of the best ROH has ever produced against one of the best that WCW ever produced, Chris Jericho. You could say that. You could honestly say that you can build a story about WCW, which doesn't exist, but it doesn't matter because he's a former WCW guy and this is a former ROH guy, and that is the reason why Tommaso Ciampa hates him and does that 1004 list, which was done by guess who? Who also did the list? You guys remember? Kevin Owens did a list too when he was working with guess who? Chris Jericho. He also did a damn list. It's the same thing. And I would have wanted Tommaso Ciampa to call out Chris Jericho and Chris, yeah, he could say the same thing, Tommy bald-headed. Oh, you're nothing but a stinky ass, bald-headed bitch. Something like that. I don't care. But what could have made this interesting, he says, and this is Ciampa, by what I would believe he would say. You know the reason why I hate you so damn much? Let's put our cards on the table and break the fourth wall here. Everyone knows both of us were in the same company at one time or another. We never challenged each other. We never saw each other. But that's not the problem here. No. You come from WCW and made your name there before you made your name at that place we once were. I went for ROH. I made my name there. I made everything. And I'm here. Just like I was in the other place. I made my name there too. But everyone says, you're greater than me. It's not because you've been working longer than me. It's because everyone thinks WCW was better than any other place. No. ROH was the best damn place. Why didn't they go there? AEW owns ROH. And Chris Jericho worked in ROH like a bitch. Why not do a story there? Hash a story between a true WCW original He was there. He worked his ass off. He did the work. And then you have here, ROH. It's supposed to be a successor in a sense to WCW. Well, ECW actually is more like ECW. But the point is this. They could have done something. And it didn't happen. And I just felt like it's a waste of time. Next. Orange Cassidy versus Andrade. Let me give it to you like this. I didn't expect Orange to win here. It was a good match. But I didn't expect him to win. But here's the thing. What are they doing Andrade? They're making it look like, and this is one of the stories they have, another... So, you currently have someone who's holding the, I believe it's the Mega Championship. I can't remember which title he's holding, the IWGP Mega Championship for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's holding it now. And he wants a title shot at the world title. But now the Jet has come into the Don Callis family, and it's all about the Jet. And Andrade's taking a step back because Don is telling him to take a step back. And he's promising him the world. He's promising him you will get your title shot. But he's making it clear that the nice, shiny new toy for Don Callis that can get him more, because he's got the TNT title. And Andrade only has a Mega Championship from, if that's the Mega Championship, from New Japan Pro. So, the thing, it sounds like Will Ospreay. But he's got a title and Will didn't at the time. I don't know. You guys tell me below how you feel about this, because it feels like it's a rehash of another story we had. That someone without a title is now getting sick of the situation with Don Callis, and it looks like he's also going to eventually break away from Don Callis sooner or later, like a Will Ospreay or a Kateska, who finally won his championship, but now he's not the Don Callis family anymore. But it's just me. The vid pack for Mercedes was, I think, not bad. It wasn't a bad vid pack. Talking about when she was away, the system just collapsed without her there. And let's make this very clear. The women's division sucks. They have a TNT title, a world title, and tag titles. They don't have that many women for the tag. The TNT title just got vacated because, unfortunately, Willow's injured. And I don't want to see Tekla lose that title yet because she's still doing very well with it. I just can't see her losing that title right now. So, whatever they're going to do for the TNT title, they got to do something interesting. And I hope it's going to work out. But honestly, the tag titles feel stagnant because there's just not enough tag teams for the women. Even if they got tons of women, they're not showing them. And worse, no story. That's the way it feels. Moving on. Let's see here. Let me see here. Am I forgetting anything? Let me say this. What did I feel about what happened with Will Ospreay? Because I did mention him earlier. Excuse me. Will talking about beating Mark Davis. Fine. It was okay. Him contributing factor, and he said himself, was the Death Riders. It makes sense, because that's the way the story is. But then seeing his wife, Miss Wimza, one of the brawling birds, runs up and hugs her man because she was worried about him. That makes perfect sense. But then, something was missing. It wasn't the fact that we're showing each other affection, that he gave her a kiss on the head and he pushed the camera away. I kind of feel like the part that was missing was her talking, saying something. Because even if she's not involved in the story for him trying to get to All In and trying to get a title there, it feels like she shouldn't have just ran up and grabbed him. She should have walked up to him, looked at him, put a hand on his cheek and said, I was really worried about you, and then hugged him. Said something. And then, or gave him a hug for a minute, pulled back, and she says, we need to talk about the Death Riders. Something to give more depth to this, because it's not Kenny anymore at this point. Not saying Kenny won't still be involved in this, because sooner or later I think Kenny is going to give us a situation with the Death Riders. It's not that. We need to make it clear that because of what he's decided to do, working with Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, everyone is concerned and worried for him. Why not his own wife give him a hug and say, honey, I don't know about this with the Death Riders. I'm worried about you. I'm glad you're doing well, but I'm worried. And that is what we need to give more humanity or more character development to Will Ospreay, who's on this journey getting to All In, and the Death Riders are helping him do it. And I think she needed to say something. I love you. Yeah, of course she could have said that. But saying, I am concerned about you working with the Death Riders. I believe that's what's missing here. Maybe they'll do it later, but this is just it. Next, Zack Sabre Jr. being shown. I've seen him multiple times. He's a great wrestler. But what does it mean? Forbidden Door. Don't care. Because he's just going to pick someone. Maybe he'll pick Kenny to work with at Forbidden Door or not. But let's make this very clear. Forbidden Door is once a year. And yes, they're trying to build it up. Like Tekla dealing with Stardom and one of their own. They showed the footage of her getting fired at Stardom. No, is it Stardom or Shimmer? Stardom. She getting fired from them. That was a good touch. And I'm glad they're going to show that and whoever she's going to go up against at Forbidden Door. But Zack Sabre Jr. doesn't feel important because he's done it twice already. And to be honest, I would rather see Zack Sabre Jr. on AEW television than once a year that they card him out and work with whoever they want to work with. I'm sorry, it's just not important enough because it doesn't have any stakes. And that's the problem. Let's make this clear. I agree with JD and Jesse. Well, JD generally. The concept of Forbidden Door needs to go away for a while. They do it every year. They can replace it with something else. And I believe they should. They should replace Forbidden Door with something else. Because as it stands, Forbidden Door as a concept has run its course due to the fact that WWE is working with TNA, has allowed a lot of their own wrestlers to go over to GCW, over to NWA, because I do believe Natty went to NWA at one point. And they need to do something different. I'm not saying I hate Forbidden Door. I just think it needs to go away for a year or two. And then bring it back when it's something good and special with good build. It just doesn't feel important. And that's the problem. Okay. This one is a little bit upsetting. Sky Blue versus Myra World. Now, I've seen Myra World a couple of times. She's pretty, and she can wrestle. Yeah. The bad thing that it's sad to see that she gets a win due to the fact of her brother dying. Now, this is my speculation. It's just me. It's still speculation. Speculation. But it's too convenient that she would win against Sky Blue. If her brother hadn't passed away, and it's so heartbreaking that a relative of yours passes away, and worse, you have to still work. And they did cover that. Excalibur made it very clear that her doing what she's doing is very brave. It's not easy doing what you're doing when your relative passes away so recently. I don't know when he passed away. I think it was yesterday or a few days ago. Don't know. And it hurts to know she lost her family and she's working. But there's a very strong possibility that this happened because her brother died. And I'm not saying that's right to do, because it's not. But then it is a very kind thing to do by AEW at the same time. Because I'm sure they already been considering hiring her anyway. I'm sure because she's a good-looking woman who can wrestle. And for what I believe, I've heard her maybe once talk, and she talks pretty well. So maybe they're already considering hiring her. But if they let her go mostly through this tournament, not because she's going to get hired, but a good portion of it is because she just lost her brother. That really sucks. That sucks. But at the same time, it's a wonderful thing to see. At the same time. Because as bad as it is, they're just doing it because, oh, this is a moment that we can use. And make something out of it. Yes. And that sucks. But it's also a good moment to see that a company can look at a person, because they didn't need to announce that her brother passed away. They didn't. That would be done on X. But they were willing to do this, announce it, and then let her win to go further into the semifinals. I do believe it's a semifinal match. That's going to be next for her. And either it's a combination of them actually considering hiring her with her brother's death. It's sad. It kind of sucks that they're letting her get it because her brother died. But also, it's actually a nice thing they're doing it because her brother did die. They like her. And they do believe that she's worth working with the company, because she's shown the right type of personality and attitude they like. So it's a lot of things. The match was fine. It was fine. But that just gave me a lot of emotions there. Anything else here before I get to Swerve? Let me see here. I think that's it. Except for Swerve versus a Brody King. Let's make this clear. Did you guys actually think Brody was going to win here? He's not. They want to have Will face Swerve eventually. And that's cool. That's really cool. Because they need to have that moment together. And it was a good match. Oh, seeing Brody King get his head banged into the top term post. Not term post. The ring that holds the ring rope on the top turnbuckle that was ripped off by him. And you can see he cut himself, gashed himself really good there. I may put a picture of it. It's in my face. I'm going to be honest here. I still like Brody. I do. But he's being used just like all big men are being used, like they normally do. When they need someone big and tough that looks like to be an obstacle, they throw him out there. And that's just sad to see them do this, because they could make it mean something when a big man wins a championship. And they're not doing it. They could build him into something good, and they have not done it. Ever since the tag team was done between him and Bandito, he's gone right back to where it was before. They just bring him back up because he's had his moment near the turn, near the top right here, near the top. He's not at the top. He was near the top right there. Altogether, this show, so close. So close. This show wasn't bad. Matches were mainly good. They had some story. But honestly, Shane Taylor Promotions, with Shane Taylor there and now they're having a feud with the Death Riders, when Shane Taylor doesn't feel important, if he's only on ROH with his crew, what does this mean? It's bad to see it. Now, if they're on Collision, then promote him more on Dynamite that he's running Collision. Make him the lead of Collision. Somebody needs to be the lead of Collision, because as far as I'm concerned, Collision's nothing without a lead. And as far as I've been told, no one said it, there is no lead for Collision. None. I don't even think FTR was running Collision. They never felt important enough to run Collision. They need someone to run Collision, but this is just me. Peace.